Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Best Friends podcast. This is episode 7. I am, I have the pleasure to be in the presence of Eli Bartek. That is Eli Bartek. Eli, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Eli Bartek, as aforementioned. I played tennis at Webster University, and I struggled through Algebra 3 with this guy. So,
No, that's facts. That's facts.
yeah.
Eli, what have you been up to? It's been a really long time since we've spoken.
Man, I have just kind of been trucking through first semester of college, playing a lot of tennis, just working on bettering myself and trying to stay warm these past couple months. So, yeah,
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, crazy snowstorm just hit. So
yeah.
if anyone's watching, probably come out a couple days after, but insane snowstorm hitting right now. I've seen a couple snowstorms in my life, and this is kind of up there. So pretty crazy. But yeah, so you already kind of said we know each other from Algebra 3. Um,
Yeah.
that was a that was a fun time. I always felt like you had it down pat. You had it pretty good. But no, like we know each other from high school a little bit. I wouldn't say we were like best friends or anything like that, but we were
Yeah,
like pretty close. Got a little close senior year of high school.
for
And
sure.
it's been fun getting to know you and seeing like your journey and stuff after that. So, yeah, I mean, do you want to touch on like how your high school experience was and how you enjoyed being at Liberty?
Yeah, I'd love to. Well, I started the first couple years. There was kind of it was more just kind of a going through the motions thing for me. I was I didn't really know what I wanted to do, as most people don't. They're freshman and sophomore year of high school, but I was, just kind of going along, just kind of getting through each class, not really putting too much thought into what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Uh, I played golf those 2 years. I played ever since I was about 8, but I started taking it pretty seriously those two. Then I also kind of felt like fatigue of it, that sophomore year. So, I was kind of into my sport. I had a pretty solid friend group around me, and yeah, it was still those first 2 years. I'd definitely say were just kind of just kind of getting through. And then junior year, I discovered I really enjoyed tennis, and that was kind of the that kind of slingshot me into where I'm at today. But yeah, those I'd say I think it was around November 2nd. I played it for the first time in team sports, and I just loved it. And man, I just kind of kept going, and yeah, it kind of it lit a fire in me. Whether it was in the classroom, whether it was working out, I kind of found like you know, I didn't really even know that college tennis was something you could do, but I knew that I liked what I was doing at that point. So I thought, why not, better myself and better any opportunity in the future, um, just kind of around that one little passion that I found. So junior year was kind of a really big, excuse me, big turning point, and it was yeah, I met a bunch of new people through a team and kind of became more sociable. And then yeah, senior year, I think year 4 was kind of the biggest kind of switch for me. It's when I really started. I think like I really hit my stride. I felt like I could really like just kind of be me, and that was huge. More friends, more people that I enjoyed spending time with also had a good influence on me. um, I got to watch and play a bunch of tennis, and that was just huge. And yeah, I also had the opportunity to train at different places, as I could probably talk about later. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think Liberty was just a really big, like, I mean, I always heard people talk about, high school being like probably one of the most impactful 4 years of your life. And so far for me, it has been. I'm only 19, but yeah, I'd say those 4 years were huge steps in development for my life and for my future.
So you credit your passion for tennis in your junior year team sports class.
That is exactly right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So so you signed up for this class not knowing that it held the destiny for your entire life. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But
I mean, no, I mean, kind of. It like, I don't know if because I mean, like, you play a sport for so long and you like 10 years for playing golf was like, I mean, you either do that loving it or you do that and you kind of end up like fading out from it. And that's kind of where I was at. Um, so when I, found this sport where, I wasn't walking for 4 hours, but I was running for 2 hours and I was hitting a ball and there was so much different strategy. It was something completely new for me. And yeah, no, that really wouldn't have happened if I didn't click, a class on my Chromebook that they gave us.
so would you say like what created that turning point for you to kind of drop something you've known like your entire life and then, you know, light a fire for you to pick up a new sport and just continue with, maybe playing sports, but with it through a different medium this time? Would it be like just from, like you touched on, being a little burnt out from golf and then being curious and finding something new, or kind of like touch on that?
Yeah, I'd say the turning point was really I met he's still one of my closest friends. His name's Cameron Payne. I love the guy. Yeah, I think you know him, but um man, he was at the tennis court and he had like we'd never spoken to each other, but he looked like I mean this was only me in the 2 months playing, but he looked like he knew a little bit about like what he was doing. I mean, maybe like a little less, but when I talked to him, it turned out that he had, taken like 5 lessons in 6th grade at a local club down the road, and I told him, I was like, look, man, I really like, I don't know where I'm at skill wise, but do you want to just practice? And, he said yes. And then from that day on, like we were both at the court every single day, like rain, sunshine. We shoveled a court off. Like there was snow on a court one time, and we would like meeting him, I'd say would be the biggest like, okay, I have somebody that will do this with me because you kind of need somebody on the other side of the net to play tennis. Golf you can just go out there and hit a ball for 4 hours and then call it a day. But once I met him and I was able to really commit to it, I'd say that was the biggest point, to meet him.
Yeah, doing like stuff alone, you can go pretty far, but it's always super fun whenever you have like fellowship and partnership and something, and you can kind of develop your friendship at the same time as get better at a sport.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's definitely important, like early on, for if you're trying to improve, but also just developing like a love for it because you guys are both going through the same thing at the same time. Like, I don't know if he was more advanced or whatever, but you both, continue to work, you continue to grow at it, and you got to a point where, you just are much better at the sport than you got there before, and you probably learned a bunch of like valuable things from it too. And like, I
of
mean,
course. Yeah.
hearing you talk about that, it definitely reminds me of like just basketball practices too. Like training in off seasons with my friends are some of the most like valuable um times that I like hold close to my heart just because like
Yeah.
you spent so much time together and you worked super hard together and you were able to achieve so much. And
Yeah.
I definitely like agree with you there. And I think that's really awesome. And transitioning from that kind of, I wanted to ask you like, what did you do after high school, like with this newfound passion? And yeah, actually, yeah, just go ahead and answer that. What did you do after high school?
Yeah. So after high school kind of starts before the end of high school. I think it was September-ish of senior year. My dad and I went on a trip to go see the US Open in New York City. We saw like, all the best tennis players in the world. And my dad said, hey, do you think you could do this? I was like, not really. And, but, you know, he wanted to know, and I also kind of wanted to know too, like, how far could I really go with this? Like, with the pretty limited time that I have. So we kind of looked at options like for after, high school. I could have played college tennis, but I wouldn't have really been starting on a team. I probably wouldn't have been for 1 to 2 years. Like regardless of division, NAI, anything. Like I like really just wouldn't have started. Um, but by, you know, all thankfulness to my parents, to God, but we were able to, they sent me to IMG after high school, just for a gap year. I took the year off, and not necessarily, but I really was just able to get put in this place where I could train 3 to 5 hours a day, do 6 hours of schooling, and then, call it like day in, day out. And I was just surrounded by the best, coaches in the world. I was surrounded by some of the best players in the world. Um, and I was just surrounded by what I loved every single day. And that's kind of what landed me where I'm at now. I'm now a freshman at Webster, about to start second semester. I don't know if I will stay here all 4 years, but right now I love the place. I love, I moved to Florida for a year, so I know I'm, back home. So
Oh,
it's big difference. Yeah.
wait, what's the weather in Florida right now? What do you think?
I checked earlier because I was pretty jealous, but I believe it is mid 60s.
That's how I
So
felt when I went to Texas for a little bit.
yeah,
Out,
it's man, it's just yeah, it's 65 on the dot. So man, I still got some friends down there who will be, sending me snaps or whatever, and it's all sunny and they're sweating. I'm like, man, I wish I was you. But
they go to
yeah,
college in Florida?
sorry.
Do they go to college in Florida or they're still at IMG?
No, they're still at IMG. I really only kind of mingled or became friends with, seniors.
Hmm.
Uh, just because like it was tough being out of high school and then getting sent right back into a place where it's like 99% of it is 6th through 12th graders. It was no, I felt old, and yeah, it was.
Um, you were big unk in
I
town.
was, dude, I was so old, man.
I mean,
It
aren't
was,
they used to that though, having like the uh gap year students
yeah, it was, that
preparatory?
was a big, like, gap years, like, you either saw, it was really, it was different because, they were just, they were my age, but they were like every single person had a different story on why they were there. For me, I had only been playing for 3 years. I needed more experience. I got placed there. For my next door neighbor, he or shoot, my roommate, he was, he's a golfer that's been playing most of his life and just kind of wants that little extra push, maybe to get a better D1 scholarship. And then you just like everybody there is just, I mean, they're all there for the same thing. Especially the PGs, you could definitely see a bit more of a seriousness. Like there wasn't as much like social, I don't want to say interaction, but like you wouldn't see them going like to the houses that some of the students stayed in or something. Like they knew why they were there, and they could see their goal and they wanted to get there. So it was good that I was surrounded by them, because they knew what they were there for. And when some of the other high schoolers were like, wow, we're in Florida, all these brands around, like, let's have fun. So yeah, it was good to be surrounded by those post grads.
Oh, okay. In my mind, I was like, what is he saying by PGs?
Yeah, sorry
Like,
about that.
and then I was
Post
like, oh,
grad,
okay, okay.
yeah. Yeah, just yeah, or yeah, I don't know. They were like set on calling us PGs. I didn't understand it, but that's
Well, I immediately thought like point guard. I was like, wait, no.
there was a few of those in my hall, yeah. But
Point guards?
yeah, yeah,
Um, so I mean, it's pretty much like college when you do that, especially at IMG, because everyone is coming from all over the US or even international.
yeah,
And like what's like the most interesting thing to you about getting to meet people from like different parts of the country or like being around them?
man. My three closest friends, I think I texted them all today. Um, one's from Hong Kong. The other one homegrown in Florida. And then another one has a lot of, I mean, he was born in Tennessee, but he's very Bulgarian.
Mhm.
And it was, man, they all were just, you know, you could just see their culture in them. And I mean, it's great. You can really learn different lessons on just respect and just being a better person just from how they interact with you, how they speak to you. I mean, those three people are, I mean, very close to my heart for, how they supported me, like how they, kind of rode with me just the entire kind of second semester. It was, I mean, yeah, no, it's great to see. And if you can, if you have the opportunity to, I mean, at least for just like a year, like me, I mean, or even a school year, so even less than that. But I mean, if you have an opportunity to get out and just see just something different, I think it's very worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing to be able to travel or
Mm.
experience anything different from the ordinary
Yeah.
at home. And that's the
Mm.
reason why I like traveling so much is because even in each new place, there's different experiences. Like you're never going to
Yeah.
have the same experience as someone else. Like everyone's going to have a different experience. They're going to learn new things and constantly being able to like see what life is like in different parts of the country or different parts of the world is like super cool to me
Yeah.
because it just changes your own perspective. And I was like thinking about as I was in the plane going to Texas and it was like taking off and like looking above in the plane like on some like Drake's type stuff. Like I'm like looking like man, look at my life. No, not like that. But
You're just pondering
I was
everything.
just like looking and like it just made me realize how like small I am in the grand scheme of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like you're on when you're like there and you're like standing on the ground, like on the earth, and you're like the size of everything changes, and then you like get up in the air and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, I never would have even thought to look at it from up here. Like everything
Yeah.
is so small. And I'm just like, this is really like crazy. Like we're really doing this life thing and nothing
Yeah.
really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're
It's a feeling, man.
it's definitely
I mean,
crazy. Sorry, I just had to
because
add.
it got to say,
Go ahead, go for it.
like, I gotta say, like, I've probably made that trip back and forth to Florida like 10 times now, I'd say. And I've had like that same feeling, every time, like just looking at every single house or every building, thinking like, there's so much life in all these places that I'm seeing, all is intricate and different from mine. Some of it's similar to mine, but like it's all so unique. And to be, a part of that, you know, ever growing number of unique and different just pieces of life. I mean, it's beautiful, it's a great thing.
It's really crazy. And
Yeah.
how else would you say like you enjoyed your overall experience at IMG? Like, what were some like experiences that you really will cherish for their ever?
Shoot, man, I'd say meeting my coach down there, that was a big thing. Players weren't ever scheduled like private lessons with any coach, like coaches. You like it was all group practices, and then if you wanted that extra like individual, work with a coach, um, you introduce yourself, or if you're already introduced, you just they're you kind of have to create that bond. And I clicked extremely well with my coach. He's just a bit of an older guy from South Carolina, Coach Chad. That's always what I call him. Big old country accent. But yeah, no, he put stuff in my game and also in my life. Just wisdom that I'll probably never forget. So he was just a huge piece that was kind of always there. Um, my roommate was another big one. Just I always call him my bud because he's from Canada. So he had that Canadian accent that a lot of people joke about, and it's as true as the jokes. He's hilarious, man.
Say Bud a lot.
Yeah, and sorry.
Do they call each other Bud a lot?
Oh yeah, bud, and he loves saying "a," like "a." Uh, Yeah, it's just all the tropes you can think about the Canadian kind of dialect just were 100% there. Loved hockey too,
Hortons,
of
eh?
course. Yeah.
Tom Hortons. I probably
Hey,
just
bud.
I probably just offended someone.
Oh man, yeah, no, I always used to make fun of him all the time for it. It did start to wear off on me though. For a bit there, I started sounding like I was from Ontario. But
I
yeah,
like
no,
that Toronto man's accent.
yeah, and well, it's crazy that you said Drake because that's all he would listen to, man. He's like, I'm Canadian, I have to. I was like,
God,
yeah, no, but yeah, he's great. And then the three friends that I, just mentioned, Boris, Alana, and Katie, all three of them, yeah, just incredible. I met him kind of last year, February, um, and I mean, spoke to him every single day after. It was whether it was just kind of trips up to Chipotle or some local food spots, or
wish I could have a Chipotle. I
that's
wish.
what I'm saying. Oh, it's heavenly. It's heavenly.
I don't got nothing out here, man. I got McDonald's. We got Arby's.
Oh man,
From
dude,
Subway.
fine dining.
Subway, Arby's, Jimmy John's.
I didn't know you had the full Michelin like category there.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, so are these people, are they post grads or are they seniors?
So my roommate was a post grad, and then my three other friends, they were seniors. They've graduated now. I got, one of them in New York, one of them in Tennessee, and the other now in Florida. So, it's tough because you can't really just see them, But yeah, I mean, I'd say the days I remember most is just going to the beach with them, just kind of on the weekends when you just have free time, you can just roam around, good old Sarasota, Florida. So yeah,
Yeah,
they were huge.
having a beach at your disposal is not fair. That's it.
It was, yeah, man. They were nice too. I mean, you get the occasional crazy guy speaking in tongues, but I mean, is it really a beach if you don't get that,
What are you talking about? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess it's
you're,
not.
you're telling me you've never been to a beach and some guy just walks past you just completely out of his mind. That
No,
was like,
I probably haven't been on a beach in a while. That just caught me off guard.
I gotta get you to Sarasota, man.
I don't want to go to Sarasota.
Fair enough.
I'm just kidding. I would love to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Florida, I don't know what it is about Florida. I just don't enjoy my experience every time I go. I think
I
the part I go to or been to probably haven't been awesome. Like, I'm not really a beach person either. Like, I'm more of the guy that's like,
yeah,
let's go on like I want to go to I would like to go to the mountains or like something like that.
yeah,
I'm
that's
not,
fair. Yeah, I don't think you'd like Sarasota too much. It did not have. I mean, Sarasota was kind of more like a, hey, let's just kind of drive an extra hour and get to Miami, like it was, or Tampa,
go
or kind of.
often? Did you leave often?
Sorry.
Did you go to other cities often?
Not often. Florida, like at least where I was at, doesn't really have a lot of highways. So, what you'd expect the 30-minute or 40-minute drive here would be like an hour 20 there, just because it's all like 50 mile per hour, 2 lane roads. It's interesting.
So IMG is located in Sarasota, no? Or is that
Yeah. Sarasota, I guess more specifically Bradenton.
that's what I was gonna
It's
ask. I thought it was
yeah,
Braden.
Sarasota is just kind of like the city. Um, like if you didn't want to go too far, Sarasota was definitely, only about half an hour. So you could just head down there. Yeah, it was nice. I mean, some areas were definitely rougher than the others, but it was, I mean, it was still it was a good place.
When I think of Sarasota, I think of Ross Creations.
Yeah.
You know who that is?
I've heard the name because, I mean, like but I haven't seen,
He does a
I
bunch
haven't
of
seen anything.
Florida man prank
Sorry?
videos. He does he does a ton of Florida man prank videos
Oh boy.
and that type of stuff. Like Florida man goes, Florida man does this, Florida man, yeah. It's very entertaining. You should check him out one time.
I guess I'll have to, man, catch a glimpse of what was roaming around there that I didn't really
That
find.
might have been before you got there, but
Oh yeah.
he's chilled out. He's got a little older, through some
Well,
facial.
that's
He chilled out a little bit. But yeah, um, you did kind of touch on this a little bit, but how would you say like your overall perspective on life has changed from taking this gap year and after your experiences after high school, now being at Webster?
Yeah, I'd definitely say they're not as narrow. I was really like I'd say, high school I was really just kind of set like I was just gonna go to like a local community college or somewhere close, and even though I still did end up just, a 40-minute drive away, I like now I feel like I'm just so much more comfortable being in a more independent area or like somewhere where I have to, just live for myself. And that's kind of what a few months there was, I'd say, kind of December through January ish. It was definitely, um, they're a bit rougher, I'd say. Like there was actually a point where I thought about, kind of leaving IMG and starting something else just because I wasn't super confident. But and I'd say that's probably the biggest thing is just kind of sticking it out. Um, you know, when you're kind of in the crummy situations or just spots you don't really want to be in, it can be really easy for those thoughts to kind of creep in and just be like, hey, like there's other options, get out of here, and all that. So it was a pretty good lesson, speaking a lot with my parents to people around me, just to say like, look, you're halfway there, like just go, like just keep going. I'm glad I did. It led to greener pastures and much better. I'm definitely in a better spot than I would have been if I kind of bowed out early. So there was definitely a big perspective switch on just kind of being like, hey, like it's gonna get tough one way or another. If it's not tough now, it will later, but that's just life, it's gonna come and go. So yeah, that's probably it's probably my biggest thing. Just keep on walking, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, that hits close to home
Yeah.
because I agree with you. Like my first semester of my freshman year of college was like the craziest thing ever
Mhm.
because I just went through so much stuff. But it's like I took the step to come to college. I know I have certain things like I want to accomplish. I don't really know what I'm doing here right now, but
Mhm.
the next step is exactly what that is. And it's the next step. And you just
Yeah.
take another one and another one and another one. And as long as you're being present for those moments and you keep putting one foot in front of the other and you finally like are being present with yourself enough to realize what you want to do, it's like you get through those hard times and you figure it out and you just keep moving forward. Like being able to keep going is something that's almost like my motto at this point because it's like all we can do. And
Yeah.
I definitely like there's a lot of hard things that you're going to go through in life. And like when you leave high school and take your first step on living on your own, like it's going to be difficult and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of like gave myself grace and I was able to discover like, okay, like what am I passionate about? And just like being honest with myself and continuing to find like what is my identity outside of basketball? What's my identity with my life? Continuing to like answer questions and taking steps, each step, like at face value and facing it. Um, like I saw like a quote and it's like the path is created by walking it. And
Yeah.
like a lot of times like we wouldn't have had like trails or like hiking
Mhm.
trails. No one went on them.
Yeah.
And it's like in our life, we have to create our own path. And like it's not always easy because you might want to walk someone else's or follow someone else's, but no, like you gotta have your own and go through those hard times because there's not gonna be a good story out of it if you don't go through it. There's nothing worth it is gonna come out of it if you don't go through it on your own and just take it easy and like opt out. So I'm
Mhm.
grateful I kept going through my first year of college because I feel like also like I don't mean this to like demean anyone, but like quitting is like a habit too. So
Oh yeah.
I would say like I'm so grateful my mom allowed me not to quit because if I would have quit that, and I wasn't going to, but I was like, man, like this is getting hard.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would if I would have done that, I would not be anywhere. I would not have got to anything that I've done or the Lord has done for me whatsoever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that. And all right, we're back. I have a new shirt. No, I'm just kidding. I took my hoodie off. Um, but yeah, we kind of talked about just our experiences after high school, making sure like we kept staying on the path. And look where we are now. No, I'm just kidding. But definitely learned a lot of valuable lessons. And one is sometimes hard but simple. And that's just keep staying on your path, keep walking your path, keep being on your path. And yeah, you can learn a lot from that. And I want to transition into some other things that I wanted to ask you. And I mean, you did also express this, but more specifically, like why do you think your passion for tennis developed super quickly?
Um, man, I think it just kind of checked all the boxes, you know. Like I I mean, it kind of sounds ridiculous, but like all through freshman year, I played a ton of table tennis, like just ping pong, just with anyone who would play with me. I got pretty good.
Mhm.
So like I understood spin, you know, like just how a ball could move when, you know, you hit it a certain way. Um, and then here was like I think probably like the biggest thing, and I just think this was God talking to me. I had team sports last hour of the day, junior year, in that first semester. In my first hour English class, I was just scrolling through Instagram. Like this was before Reels or anything like that, so I couldn't have just like swiped up and seen it. I was clicking on the search button, and I saw just a kind of like a small corner, and I clicked this video, and it was this guy teaching or like just telling me how to hit a forehand in tennis, like going through the basic steps and all that. And that day we get to team sports, and I have a racket in my hand, some cheap, probably $10 racket that may have broken if I had swung too hard. And I was just hitting these forehands, and you know, backhand was kind of natural. I played baseball for a good 7 years. Like I was used to having, I was used to holding with two hands and just kind of with that swinging motion with your shoulders and your lower body. So I was already kind of just accustomed to like just kind of the very basics of the game. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know anything like that. But just having that little step in front of somebody who was a complete beginner kind of just, I mean, that pushed me. I had people asking me if I play tennis. I was like, never. And it was just, I mean, yeah, I mean, it just felt right. Um,
Did you
and
feel
I,
encouraged? Did you feel encouraged by like all the people asking you if you?
oh yeah, 100%. I mean, because they always talk about, being a natural at a sport. I don't know how much I truly believe in somebody being a natural. I mean, I think you can pick up something quickly, but like being born to do something, I don't know. Because I sometimes completely believe in it and sometimes not at all. But for me, it was like, I'm not natural. Like I know how a ball spins. I saw this guy on Instagram 6 hours ago show me how to hit a forehand. Like that's just, but yeah, and it was yeah. I just felt those people saying like, "Wow, you're really good at that," and I was like, "Man, I want to be like even better." And so yeah, that was big. That initial encouragement was big.
That's good. Did you have more to say? I kind of cut you off there.
No, it was yeah, no, it like yeah, no, because yeah, it's about like the initial spark, and yeah, that was just it felt like too many pieces kind of clicked at once for me to not be like, that's interesting. But yeah,
Mhm. Okay. So I also want to like ask you about your faith because before we hopped on the podcast, you showed me your tattoo
yeah.
and I like it. You can show it or you can't.
Okay, there we go.
You don't want to. That's pretty cool.
You're really
Um,
good at
and you've mentioned like kind of what God has done in your life a couple times throughout the podcast. So I want to ask, like, was faith always a big part of who you are?
in all honesty, I mean, in all honesty, no, it really wasn't. There was a good point, I'd say fifth through like beginning, uh, yeah, fifth through like beginning of freshman year, where I was just like, I thought it was all just kind of a bunch of, I kind of I lost my like belief in it. I got around people, not that they were bad people or anything, but just people that didn't, you know, like they didn't surround themselves with that. So neither did I. I think I mean, who you surround yourself with play a big, big part into who you are. And faith was not a part of me for let's say a good, 3.5 years. But yeah, it was, I mean, I think a big kind of change was, um, I went through a car accident and, um, I mean, it wasn't terrible by any means. Like it wasn't, I mean, like I was fine. I maybe had like a mild concussion, but it was still something that I was like, wow, that could have been so much worse. And I mean, like it kind of moved me to like really learn about, is there, something else out there that's like really, I mean, not even, a specific religion. It was just, if I die, like if that was it right there, like what's gonna happen? And it kind of just started a journey that pushed me into kind of getting back into my faith. My dad was a big role in that, too. He actually was almost a priest, but he kind of moved away from that. He found passion in other things. But yeah, it was pretty big when I started really learning and started putting effort into my faith, that I could really see its rewards. And I truly believe that tennis coming into my life is one of those rewards. Um, and yeah, just kind of taking opportunities to learn and be open, with my faith, with uh, even people who have different views on faith. I think that's big too. Um, you know, I am equal. I like that saying. I am man in God's image, and so is everybody else on this earth. Um, so I think learning from as many people as you can, is big, and that's kind of been a really big part of making me who I am. But yeah, faith has been big these past few years. Yeah, I'd say kind of that sophomore year onward till this very second. I've been really trying to expand my knowledge and in my heart too. Yeah.
Really good stuff. Were you kind of raised with a faith background? Like I know you said your dad was pretty uh he was a big like role model for you. From a young age, were you like in the church and stuff like that, or was it kind of
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, church on Sunday, PSR on a weekday, once a week, which is just after school religion. Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, it was. I would say, to me, it was almost like rudimentary. It was kind of what I talked about like earlier. Just kind of, it almost became a going through the motions. And when you're really trying to dig deeper into your faith, that can't be the case. So yeah, yeah, no, my parents raised, my brother and I in a Catholic household, and yeah, and actually, I got a question for you, Mr. Bobakevich,
okay.
because I was barely on this earth when I was baptized, so I gotta know, somebody who was recently baptized, how was that? Like, how was that experience for you?
It was it was very nice. Like I'm so thankful I was able to do it where I was at. That church was kind of the first church that I went to after my choice to become a Christian. I was able to meet a lot of really cool people from that church. Uh, I was introduced to it through somebody that really has just been like a really good friend and also someone that taught me a lot about life too. And I met him at the gym, and at that point, my faith was kind of personal and private. Like I had a relationship with God that I was building. I was reading my Bible, I was praying, but I wasn't going to church. And when I was able to, it's not that I didn't like want to or anything. I just wasn't. I didn't have like one that I went to, and I was still kind of like figuring this thing out, like what I want it to look like for myself. And he was like, just go ahead and come to the church. Go ahead and check it out and see how you like it. And I went to one of the sermons that Sunday, and I was super excited because I researched it, and the pastor was a guy that I met at a separate gym who would train me for basketball. And
Really?
yeah, and I had no idea he was a pastor. He saw me there, and he was just like mind blown, like wow, like why are you here? Or not why are you here, but wow, you're here. And I was just like, yeah, like it's crazy. And his sermon was just really good. And I was able to deepen my understanding of what who Jesus is. And I was able to learn more about how I can develop my relationship with him, like how he works in my life. And because like at the very beginning, I really didn't really know what I was doing. Like I had to go through a lot to get to the point to where I was now. And I'm thankful I was able to learn so much. And my choice to be baptized was it's symbolic kind of because you're putting your old self to death and you're becoming a new creation in Jesus. And it's it's one of the best feelings ever to like actually do it and come up from the water, and like nothing is going to be different. Like you're still going to face sin, you're still are
Mhm.
going to sin, but I'm saying to the world like, hey, I'm a Christian and I'm going to live my life this way.
Yeah.
And when you actually fulfill that kind of part of being a Christian and announce it, like this is who I am, like it just gives you a sense of like freedom and like I'm uniting with God and I'm going to be on God's side. And it's a very nice feeling. Like, I know I've had some friends that were baptized too, and we all like talk about our own experiences. I probably should ask them about it more, but I gave like a kind of like a testimony too. And
Mhm.
it was just overall a really good experience. Like I was at college and I was able to come back home. My parents were able to see it. Some people
Yeah.
in the crowd were able to hear me talk, and it was really awesome. It was really fun. It was just super cool. I can't really describe it,
Yeah.
but it was a good feeling. It was pretty cool. Yeah. I had been baptized when I was a baby too, but I was kind of in a similar situation as you. Like I wouldn't say my family was super religious. I always had the choice to kind of go to an after school program,
Yeah.
and when I would go, but I didn't really understand anything. Like
Yeah.
I didn't really I didn't have anyone in my family that read the Bible or taught me about religion, really. So that was my only kind of experience. And they would have younger people teach it too. So I don't think I really got the best that I could from it.
Mhm.
And I was young, so I didn't really fully understand it. And the way I see it now is I'm trying to live like a biblical, righteous life. Like I'm not prescribing myself to any type of religion, but I want to be everything like that the Bible describes. I want to have a better relationship with God and further develop that relationship with Him. And yeah, like baptism was super cool, um, super awesome. Like I felt like in my experience with other religions, I felt like you would have to do a lot to earn God's kind of respect or acceptance.
Yeah.
And the way I feel about it now is like I don't have to do anything. God already he already died for my sins. He already paid the full price he could. And just fully like believing in him and trusting in him and humbling myself to where I don't handle my sins, he does, is something that gives so much freedom. And I'm still
Yeah.
learning what my what the complexities of my relationship are with him. But it's been really great to keep building a relationship with him. And it's been like exactly a year probably. So I'm still super
Yeah.
fresh. It's been cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Dang.
allowed me to see the world in a completely different way than I saw the world a year ago.
Yeah.
Like struggled with a lot of anxiety, a lot of obsessive compulsive behaviors, um, and stuff like that. So, just being able to surrender things like that and being able to fully put my faith in him has given me so much peace. And I
Mm.
really think he's done good in my life and good work in my life. And yeah, it's been really awesome. So yeah.
Man, that gets me fired up. I can't lie. I just
Go play some tennis.
let's
Um,
go, man. Yeah, no. I think, just I think it's so beautiful seeing, because I think everybody struggles, with faith and religion in their own way. At least everybody I've talked to has, there's at least been like half a year, I'd say, with people that I'm closest to, where they, are like, yeah, I don't really know if I do believe. And then and I honestly just think it makes the connection stronger when, they or I even kind of find it again. It, it, it just, yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing.
mhm. I think there's I can't remember the specific verse, but it's talking about like a guy that like lost his sheep or
Yeah.
his one sheep or something like that. And I think or it's a lot about a lost sheep. And it
Mhm.
talks about the angels in heaven or like they're so much happier than one person that comes home and comes to Jesus than the rest of the people that, are staying faithful. I don't know. I probably botched that, but it's something about like pretty much people that like come back to Jesus. And
Yeah.
there's no sin we could commit that would make Jesus love us any less. Like which is completely different from the world where it's like you go to jail for, murdering someone, you get put in jail for all these crimes, which obviously like they probably do deserve it. But, Jesus like well, in the world they definitely do, but Jesus will really he'll forgive you for anything. And, he loves you so much. And that's what, this year and last year has really been for me. It's been like a year of like love and peace and
Yeah.
trying to model that because Jesus does that for us. And that's what I feel like I can do for others. So,
I,
yeah.
I think the book of Jonah, when it's talking about, you know, I mean it's a bit like satirical in the book, but it kind of goes through like this kind of like story about Jonah and like is are you okay with God forgiving your enemies and people in the world of wrongdoing? And then like, you were talking like, on the world, something that'll put you in jail, but Jesus loves you nonetheless, that I think that book kind of really kind of very nicely like talks about that and really kind of gives more insight on, you know, how we can be okay with the Lord forgiving those that do wrong to others. But yeah, no, that just yeah, you saying that made me think of that.
And like to preface that, like I know like when people commit sins, like it's not okay, and like they
Yeah.
deserve to be put in jail. And like Jesus hates the sin, but he loves us,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
he wants to fight for us more than anything. So that's like one of the most comforting feelings in the world. And yeah, it's really awesome. So what are three items you would bring with you on a no, I was just kidding. No. Uh, would you like to do that? Would you
Three items that I'd bring with me out to an island.
yeah, to us, right? If you're stranded on an island, what three items would you bring with you? Oh, it saves.
Bro, I gotta have a barometer there. Um, I'd say a box of Legos.
Barometer. What is that?
I think it measures like, oh shoot, what does it measure? I thought it was pressure. I could be completely wrong though.
Probably is. Probably is. Like those hourglass things with sand.
Yeah, I'd say yeah, no, it's got to be a barometer, um, a new set of Legos, and then got to be a medicine ball. Like if I'm really getting
Medicine
no,
ball.
yeah, in case you want to get some good explosive work in.
Some sand work, some cone
Yeah,
work.
some sand sprints, yes. Oh.
Medicine ball. That's crazy, bro.
Gosh, medicine ball slams and the sand's got to be brutal though.
That's a nice three. You're gonna be able to work out. You're gonna be able to. What does the barometer do?
Dude, I'm gonna look it up real quick. I gotta know.
And what was the other thing? Barometer, medicine ball,
A box of Lego.
box of
So
Lego.
it measures air pressure.
Why do you need to know that?
I don't know.
So you said,
I never leave the home without my barometer.
dude. Okay, awesome. What music have you been listening to lately?
Oh man. Two big ones. The Eagles. Love the Eagles. And then this guy named Sumbuck. Have you heard of the band Camp? Like CAAMP? Yeah. Yeah. So the lead singer, he's got his own like side project called Sumbuck, and he just makes these nice and slow like folk songs. And they're pretty just like musically they're just pretty raw. Like there's nothing really like there's no auto tune, there's no like 50 instruments blowing your face off, but it's usually just his voice, his guitar, and
Oh, you
that's
saw
just yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you asked me about music, bro, because that was like one of the biggest things. Like I always remember talking to you about.
that?
Like you just put me on to like some random guy I never heard of or
Who did I
anything.
put you on to?
Dude, Sampha. That was the biggest one. That's one I'll always
On the
remember.
Sampa?
Yeah, you put me on to Sampha. I'm
Wow,
trying to think there's yeah, no, Sampha's the biggest one.
he's a
Yeah.
dog.
Hmm.
You put me on.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, you put me on to the guy that sings Liberty.
Oh, Amnesty. Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
Liberty.
Hear my cry out for liberty. I love that song.
I remember. Did you use that song for an Instagram post or
I don't think so. No.
a
Maybe
story,
for a story or something.
Instagram story?
Yeah.
Because of our school, or is that because of you?
Probably. I remember like if we had like an away match or something, we won it. I'd usually like snag the speaker real quick, throw that on. Is it kind of like a little
In a away game, you would do that?
oh yeah, dude, all the time. I mean, well, I mean after we won, of course, on the ride back, and then that was kind of our
I would have
nah,
known that song and then do a couple TikToks.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's got to be like the best use of it.
yeah.
Either that or Kanye making a beat out of it,
Mm.
which he did.
I've been listening to some whole lot of Drake.
Oh yeah,
Been listening to a whole lot of Drake. You know the girl that made Paper Planes? It,
MIA.
yeah, been listening to her.
Yeah, yeah, dude,
I
she's weird.
what?
She's interesting, man.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
listening to Tyler Hubbard.
I haven't heard him.
He made the song 5'9", the country song.
Oh yeah, okay, I've heard of him. Yeah,
Um, been listening to some Rio, the young OG. uh, some Aaliyah, some Nems. He's a UK artist. That's some Halsey. So big into my pop singers.
yeah.
But then other than that, like today, I've just been listening to a whole bunch of gospel music. I was listening to Forrest Frank. You know who that is?
I've heard the name. Dude,
He makes a bunch of Christian music.
yeah, I feel like I can picture him right now. Um,
How could I be stressed today if God said it was planned out?
bar.
That's a bar.
I mean,
That's an absolute bar.
now you mentioned Drake. Are you talking like Club Drake, Sad Drake, Angry Drake, or like what?
All
What?
types of Drake. Me and my
All,
teammates love Drake.
yeah.
Get in the car and we're playing Drake, probably. It's got to be Drake. It's always Drake. I don't know why. Um, but no. I like I just like vibey Drake. I
Yeah.
enjoy club music. I do enjoy his little passion fruit.
Have you heard Needle with Nicki Minaj?
I think so.
That's a good one, man. It's got a nice bounce to it. It's something to just kind of chill out to.
Something to vibe to.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn. Um, he needs to drop a new album.
Dude, how many would that be in the past like 3 years?
Uh,
Like six?
Past 3 years, I would be like four.
Oh my
He made Honestly Nevermind and Her Loss both in 2022. 2023, it was For All the Dogs. I have a question for you.
God. Yeah, please.
Do you prefer new Drake or old Drake?
Old Drake, 100%. I'd
Really?
say Views is probably my most listened to Drake album.
Wow.
I'm not like too.
So, so what if we gave Views to new Drake then? Or does Views count as old Drake? Wait, where's the line? Is new
Oh man,
where does new Drake
when
go?
did Views come out?
2016? Is that considered old?
Hmm. That's interesting. I would
Because
say
if old Drake gets views, if new Drake gets views, then I don't know. If old Drake gets views, it's gonna be a blowout. But I don't know.
100%. But I will say nothing was the same. Good few songs on that record that I love. Um, if yeah, I mean if you give views to old Drake, then I listen to maybe three new Drake songs. But if you give it to new Drake, then I'd say it's probably a 50-50 split.
Okay, we'll see. But you like views.
Yeah, I
Like
do like it.
it's like medium Drake.
That is
Not old or new.
a middle-aged Drake.
It's mid. It's mid Drake. What am I talking about, bro? All right, we're gonna get into the last couple questions. Why are you so cool? Like,
Oh,
why do you have so much aura?
dude, I think I can do a little bit of a lot of stuff, you
Mm,
know?
mm,
Like I could probably serenade you with a few songs on the piano or guitar. I know a good bit about like just art in general. I like drawing. Uh,
yeah.
I'm just talking. I'm
Ah,
just talking.
bro, I love it. Keep going.
I, I don't know. I don't really think I'm too cool. I like to diversify, you know.
You're a man of many interests.
I try to be.
What's your what makes you want to try so many things and do so many things?
I don't know. I really think my family isn't like too like culturally diverse, but um there is a lot of like I'd say my close family is probably around 25 people, I'd say. Maybe a little less. But they all love different things, you know. And when I was growing up, you know, I love my close family and I just kind of gravitated towards, you know, what they love too. First sport I played was baseball, and that's because, you know, my dad absolutely loved it. Like, you know, soccer because my godfather and my one of my uncle, two of my uncles, like they're all teammates, you know, back in college. So, you know, I grew towards that. Hockey, you know, that was my dad. Um, and then like, you know, kind of like the artistic aspect of it. My great grandma, she was a singer, plays the piano beautifully. I got, you know, just so many close people that are so incredible, like better than I could ever be. So many different things.
Mm.
Um, but it was always just kind of me wanting to kind of have a piece of that, you know, like I always saw it. I was like, just wow, you know, like I want to be like them. So it was, I honestly, I think it was just because I was just always, because I think I was just always surrounded by good role models growing up and, um, you know, just growing to love what they loved. And, yeah, I think that's how I kind of was able to be diverse in everything I do.
That's cool. I think that's why you're so cool.
Oh, man, couldn't be me.
Um, 2025 goals. Do you have any?
Ooh, I yeah, I would say I do. Um, don't fail. That's a big thing. I'm I always worry about school, man. I've always struggled with it. So doing well in school is probably the main goal. Just staying healthy. That's big. I want to get into the middle splits. Like I want to be able to go into the splits. Um, I know that kind of just sounds weird, but I have terrible flexibility genetics from my dad's side. I can like touch my knees at most because my hamstrings are so tight. So like I want to be like I want to just go against the odds here and just do something crazy. But
You
yeah.
want to be able to splits?
Yeah. It's gonna be tough, but
Have you been
yeah,
stretching?
that's sorry.
Have you been working on your stretching?
Yeah, I mean, I started my 2025 goals kind of a month earlier than 2025, so we're getting there. But I don't know, a big thing is, I want to grow my faith. That's always been kind of the past few years. That's been a pretty big kind of ladder that never ends. I don't think you can ever be, you know, too loving. Um, and tennis too. I just kind of want to be a better athlete. And I don't know. I don't know where that road will take me, but I kind of have a goal of. I mean, since I really like learned like the what college athletics looked like. I kind of always wanted a Division 1 offer. Didn't really matter where, but I'm hoping within, it probably wouldn't happen this year, but in the next couple, I'd really want to really work my butt off for that. So yeah, I'd say that those are probably the overarching goals there.
Nice. And my last question
It,
is, you're back, you're back. Okay. So before we were so rudely interrupted by Zoom, I had one last question to ask you.
it's true.
And are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. If you could be remembered, how and what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh man, that's a good one. Yeah. How I'd like to be remembered is that's interesting. I think the how and the what kind of coincide a little bit, because I really would only want to be remembered by how I make people feel, and hopefully being in a good way. I try to be a welcoming and friendly person, and I hope to not change from that. And I think, when it's all said and done, I mean, I don't think I need people to remember my name, but if they could just remember a moment, um, just the people that I really care and love. Um, yeah, I think that's it really. Just, just being remembered by happy moments, I'd say.
That's good. I like that.
Thank
Thoughtful guy.
you. Oof, try to be.
Well, thank you, Eli, for
Yeah,
joining me.
thank you. It was a blast, man. It was a good way to stay inside and stay away from all that
Get through the
free.
storm.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for coming on the Best Friends podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. I really
Guys,
appreciate it.
tuning in. If you stuck through it, thank you for watching. If you tuned in for a little bit, thank you for watching still. I hope you learned a little bit about Eli's story. I hope you learned that he's an avid tennis player. No, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, I hope you enjoyed it and more coming soon. Thank you.